This is the Amp Hour Podcast, recorded January 6th, 2015, episode 231, Nonplussed, Neotechnic, Nithing.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics.
What's up?
Go, man. Go. Get
Go.
going.
Oh, okay.
Hurry.
See ya.
Hurry, go.
I'm out of here.
I know.
Great show. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, it's been great, man. Dave was telling me before the show just how busy he is. I'm pretty skeptical about Dave being busy, busy.
Yep.
But this week, I actually believe you. I think this is legit busy.
Yeah, you asked and you got my, well, no, you didn't ask. I think I gave you, you probably did. But anyway, I gave you my extensive list of stuff that actually was just a list of today's tasks. And they're just not going to get done.
That'll do it, man. Every time.
Yep. No, it's just, I don't know whether it's the timing. It's always... everything always comes at once,
Yeah, well, you always are, going on holidays and stuff like that, though, too. So, I mean,
right? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Around here, we just keep working.
I won't be here next week for minimum wage.
That's right. With no benefits.
$6 an hour or something. Isn't it?
I think when I started my first gig, I was getting paid $5.15 an hour.
$5.15 an hour, really?
Yeah. Yep.
My first job in 1989, was, I tweeted a photo of the pay slip once, and it was like $10 an hour or something. Nice. I think. Yeah. So, and that was...
I can't be too mad about that early stuff. Maybe I've said it on the show before, but like... that was obviously in high school. I had a paper route when I was younger, but that didn't really count. But, I was like scooping ice cream for a living, not for a living.
Okay.
I was scooping ice cream as a teenager. And, it's great. It's great when you have like, when an 8-hour shift and you're counting the seconds, right? Because you're bored.
Yeah.
And you're counting the seconds and you're like, well, that was a minute. And then you do the math and you're like, I just made 8 cents or whatever it is,
right. Right.
It's just that's good,
But you're young, right? You have an infinite number of hours, so when that paycheck comes around, you go, that's a lot of money,
right.
And you don't think about the hours that you actually work to get it. Really, you just, I don't know about you, but back at my first job in the 80s, we got paid in cash. Right, someone would go to the bank. They would send somebody out to the bank. Usually the secretary. Plus, they'd choose someone to ride shotgun. Right, except we don't actually have guns here. So,
right.
Anyway, so usually they'd send someone to ride shotgun with her, and she'd go to the bank, and the bank would already have pre-prepared because they know it's a regular scheduled thing. All of the cash for every employee in little brown paper bags, with your name on it. And they'd, bring this tray of, they'd walk around with this tray of brown paper bags and they'd hand you your cash for the, might have been weekly. I think it was the only job I've had that was paid weekly. It might have been fortnightly, I'm not sure. It definitely wasn't monthly, which is the norm these days. Everyone in the engineering industry gets paid monthly. I don't know what it's like in the States, but... Yeah. Anyway, that was
every 2 weeks or monthly.
Every 2 weeks.
Things.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd imagine with you and the existence of like hobby shops, that was probably dangerous. Like, it's a wad of cash and Dave lusting after new multimeter.
Exactly. Well, see, that's the thing, right? Because like you didn't have credit cards back then, you didn't have online e-commerce, you didn't have shopping. Like, you had to actually go spend your cash.
Which has its own perils, of course, right? The Amazon Prime is both the best and the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Right, okay. Oh, dear. Yeah, we had none of that back then, so you were, I went and spent my cash, or usually hoarded my cash. If there's one advice I could give youngsters out there, hoard your cash, Don't go out and blow your wad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's always good advice.
Anyway, no, I'm flat out, folks. Yes. But I am taking a break. I didn't really take much of a break over the Christmas, New Year thing. Just, a couple of, just the odd day here and there, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, that sort of jazz. But I got my shelving this morning. My shelving was delivered this morning for the bunker. So that was, I didn't want to move everything in there until I had the shelving up. So that was task number 1 for today. And task number 2 was chasing up bloody parts. Maxim screwed me again. Well, actually, no, it wasn't Maxim. Sorry, Maxim. As I said in the past, Maxim have screwed me before, right? And I knew something had happened to these parts, and of course they use DHL. The problem is DHL this time, right? Apparently, my parts have been sitting in customs in DHL in Sydney since the 4th of December. Right, this is my reel of 2,500 chips. I had to buy them on the reel.
And this is actually going into the microview and stuff?
Yeah, microcurrent. Yeah, this is going in the microcurrent, right? And I just realised yesterday I'm out of stock, so and I've got a manually updated shopping cart, right? I've actually got a manually, I don't actually put, the amount of stock I've got in there. So I've got to manually update it. And so now I've got too many people who've ordered, and I can't ship them all today. That's another today task. And so I've got to, email them, say, oh, sorry, I don't, I know you paid, and I know it said I had them in stock when you ordered, but oops, sorry, dude. Yeah. Oh, I hate that. It's just annoying.
I saw someone on Twitter, I forget who it was, but they mentioned that they were working on a low quantity. I know, obviously that's not a low quantity thing, but basically they were doing a low quantity project. And I think it might have been Rotano on Twitter, but they said they didn't buy the parts up front, and then by the time the manufacturing came around, it was like, nope, those aren't available anymore. Yeah. It's just like, oof.
Yeah. What, they couldn't even get 10 or 100? Or
exactly. I mean, because someone bought up the stock, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
it's always the same thing with
that's what happened to me.
I remember, you talked about this when you bought those resistors for the microcurrent, right?
Yeah, the $4,000 reel of resistors,
Yeah.
$1,000
bucks
and $4
I mean,
a pop.
other than, I think laying money out front is good. I think that's a good thing when you do that.
Definitely.
But sometimes people don't have that.
Definitely.
And it's just like,
well, and see, I've done that, right? Yeah, I ordered my, $4,000 reel of resistors. Last time, yes, I ordered a 2,500 reel of these chips, right? I've done this before, but I've gone through them, and all of a sudden it creeps up on you, and the next thing you know, shit, I'm out of stock, and DigiKey don't have any, mouse I don't have any, nobody's bloody got any.
Yeah.
And you got to order them from frickin' Maxim. Oh. That's a if you want an horrific online experience, try buying from the Maxim website. I dare you.
No, pass.
Man.
Yeah, that's one thing. That's been getting better though. Because you think about 10 years ago, you wouldn't even consider that though, right? You wouldn't have considered buying direct from a manufacturer at all because they just didn't offer it.
Well, no, exactly. There was none of this. I can remember back when I was doing kits back in the early 90s, right? I had to order parts from the local distributor, Arrow or whoever it was, right? Mm-hmm. And because there was no online e-commerce, the web didn't exist. Right. This is where you ordered parts, and you didn't get them from bloody Farnell at the time, right? I mean, Farnell might carry a few, but they didn't carry production quantity back then. And if they did, if you think they're expensive now, you should have seen them back in the day, right? 20 years ago. Holy crap. So you had to go through the local supplier, and they didn't carry stock. So it'd be, I'm not kidding, 40 weeks lead time, sir.
Wow.
Holy shit.
That's a tough pill to swallow.
Exactly. Yeah, we take it for granted these days, but no, it was worse. Order of magnitude worse.
I don't know if you saw, but Bunny actually wrote about Bunny Huang, who's been on the show.
Yeah.
He wrote about the Soylent supply chain, so he wrote about some of these issues as well.
Soylent. Okay, is he a Soylent fan? Is he?
No. It was the supply chain. It's made of people. It's made of people.
Right. Why? Because people have to make the ingredients, or what's the story?
No, just that, like, basically that you still have to have relationships. You still have to.
Oh, right.
It's a really good point. I mean,
Yeah,
you still have to have relationships. You still have to interact with salespeople. I mean, we've talked about that on the show a lot as well. It's like it's not going away. It's still a industry that's based around salespeople and interactions and relationships.
Wish it would disappear. I wish it.
Of
Like
course,
this is why
every
I don't
engineer
like
does.
dealing with humans. It's just another step in the loop. I just
Hey,
like
man.
my interaction with DigiKey because I don't have to talk to a human.
Hey,
right?
look, I'm working on a website for this. Like, I'm in the
Right.
same boat, right? I mean, like,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I agree, and I think there's tons of efficiency for that kind of stuff too. But
I'm sorry, I'm just
reality-
instantly viewing war games and what happens when they took humans out of the loop, right?
Right. Would you like to buy a part?
Shall we play a game? Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
But this is one area where, sorry if you're in that business and your job relies on that, but
Well, there
wish you
is
didn't
a
have a
lot of
job.
people that do that, but I think a lot of them have seen that downward trend. I mean, like you were talking about 10 years ago with those, that expensive part. That money wasn't going back to manufacturers. That was going to
the
distributors
dealer,
who
yeah.
took the risk to hold the stock, and
Yeah,
that
that's right.
funded a lot of stuff, and like that's just not there anymore.
I'm sure they're a shell of their former self. These
I mean, they just consolidated, right? I mean,
distributor.
look
Yeah,
at
right.
Arrow and Avnet. They're both like 30 billion plus companies, but they're
Right.
made up of tons. They just acquire tons and tons of littler companies.
Right.
I mean, like even from when I started, a lot of the business cards that I got when I started of people, like those companies just don't exist anymore. They
Right.
exist, but they exist within Arrow or within Avnet or within Newark Element 14, whatever. So yeah, it's just a consolidating industry.
I've got a friend who actually keeps everyone's business card, and he loves, and he sorts them, so he loves to see where people have travelled over, look, he's been through 5 different distributors. He's worked for 5 different distributors, and he'll have the business cards, and he'll go, look, they moved from here to here to here,
I too have LinkedIn.
This company. Well, yeah.
People
When
just
I was
offer
a
that
boy.
information now,
Right.
It's not a hobby anymore.
No, it's. Yes, it's all changed.
But yeah,
LinkedIn.
yeah. I mean, there's always tons of stuff like that too. I got tempted by that a couple times, and maybe I've mentioned it on the show before. But I think that people that are listening that are in the sales are probably on the technical side, right? And I think it's a common path for a lot of engineers to be like, well, I got to the top of the engineering, or maybe not even the top, but the middle of the engineering field, and I can either stay in this company or go to other companies and do similar stuff for 30 years, or I can go
Right.
and get to travel and make money. Because I think FAEs and salespeople can make a lot more money because they're closer to the sale, and that I was tempted by that a couple times, and it's not you get to see a lot of cool stuff, but it's definitely a different existence, and I think it's a threatened existence in certain ways because those margins do keep shrinking. So,
Well, I think I briefly flirted with thinking about that because back in the day, right? Mm-hmm. I was, I'm talking late 90s or something, right? I would look at the job ads, and it was like these FAEs were getting paid double. What engineering jobs were. So, I'm bored at my current job. Okay, I'll look through the job ads, back when you had to flick through, newspapers, right? And, and you would see these, and they're going like 140K, for a bloody, a field sales person, and of course, it's all based on how much commission you get and blah, blah, blah.
Well,
And so you've got to be a decent salesperson, but that was sort of, but even the base salary was like,
some of that stuff's on autopilot, right? If you get assigned an account, you're going to be like, okay, the economy's doing decent, these 10 engineers you talk to are going to be designing with parts, you get credit for it, good stuff, right? Now, that's not always the case, and you're probably working on the more difficult stuff, but yeah,
I think it's all changed now. I think they don't earn a huge amount anymore. I think it goes through cycles, and I don't think they're in a great cycle at the moment. Or they were just having a real big boom there at the time when, it was that sort of job was, trendy I don't know.
Yeah, well, there's another thing to that. There's the different layers as well, and I've written about this before, like the different. I think it was on Engineer Blogs, but back when we had that blog going. But basically, there's a lot of different levels, like because even technical people, you could be at the FAE level, which is like usually that's the guy that's coming in and helping you actually pick out a part and then actually get it working if you have a problem, assuming you're a big enough customer.
Yep.
But then there's also like the distributor level ones who are more kind of closer to the sales side. Like the Arrows and the Avnets of the world also have FAEs. They have technical people, and they usually run like seminars and stuff like that. And then there's like the marketing reps and the sales reps who are like independent from everybody else, and they're usually much more sales focused as well. But they still kind of show a lot of products and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot of different things. I think the FAEs will stick around for a long time because there's always going to be big companies. There's always going to be the Apples of the world and Samsungs of the world. And if you talk to FAEs about it, inside and outside FAEs, I guess inside are not called FAEs; they're called just factory FAEs or factory applications people. Yeah. But a lot of times they're actually doing the design work these days. So that you think about reference designs, a lot of companies are using reference designs. Someone's designing that is usually within the actual manufacturer company. So
yeah, so that's a great job to get if you can get it.
Oh, I definitely think so. Yeah. But I think those ones are sticking around. I think FAEs will stick around as well. I think more like the marketing firms, the marketing rep firms and stuff like that. Those are the ones who keep kind of dwindling in numbers. I think the distributor FAEs and the sales will still be around, but in dwindling numbers as well over time. But I think FAEs for a while will be pretty stable. So. I'm sure anyone listening who is an FAE or a salesperson would love to tell us in the comments if we're wrong, but
I'm sure they will.
I'm sure they will. That's right.
People love to tell us when we're wrong.
Oh, it's good. That's why we're engineers, right? We want to live to tell each other we're wrong. Dave, you're wrong. Come on, man.
Yes. But apparently now I'm famous. I'm on Wikipedia.
You are on Wikipedia, and you didn't even put yourself there.
No, that's a bit lame. It's been there for a couple of months, and like somebody emailed me, right? And a fan, they emailed me and said, "Hey, why don't you put a list of all your episodes up on there, right?" And I go, "Well, you can't do that because you've got to have a Wikipedia page to begin with, to even begin to be famous enough to have a list of episodes, up there on." Wikipedia. And he goes, "Don't you know you already have a Wikipedia page?" And I go, "No, I don't." And he goes, "Yes, you do." And sure enough, he was right. It's been up there for a couple of months. So, thanks to whoever put that up. Now I'm
cool, man.
On the grid. But I think true fame comes when the haters care enough to actually deface your page. That's when. Yeah.
I'll get on it, man. Come on.
Yep. Yeah. I had a call the other night at it was like late. It was like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Thanks for that. At home, right? And the phone rang, and I it picked up. Hello, and half asleep, and they go, "Is this Dave Jones from the EEV blog?" And like I didn't think. And I just said, because I didn't know who it was. Yeah, who's this? And is it really
I'm inside
you?
Your house.
Yeah, right. Have you checked the children? If you've ever seen that video, that's scary. That was the scariest thing back in the 70s. Was it the late 70s? The night they called or something. You hate scary? No, you don't like horror? I love horror.
No.
Anyway, if people haven't seen, just Google "Have you checked the children?" I think it's when a stranger calls. That's it. Anyway, it's a short video. It turned into a movie. I think it was a short play that turned into a movie or something. Anyway, I got sidetracked. I'm Dave. Yeah, I'm Dave. Is it really you? And it's really me. Who the hell are you? And it's just a friend of mine. We wanted to know if we could find your home phone number. And we did it. I was like, congratulations. Thanks. Oh yeah. And they
Dave caching instead of geocaching. It's Dave caching.
Right. And they were kind. They were nice enough. Oh look, we're big fans. We love your show. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for calling at 11 o'clock at night. Or whatever it was, time zone. So I don't know.
That could be a little creepy, yeah.
Yeah, I was half asleep. It was creepy, but it's kind of cool in a old school sort of way, that they managed to, like old school kind of hack. They managed to
Old
track
school,
me
like
down.
they used a phone book.
Exactly. They, and they just, actually called instead of emailing. That's just retro these days.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. So anyway,
Cool, man.
yeah. But please, people, don't call. Oh, goodness. Yep. Everyone's got my work number, but nobody's ever called it. Haven't had a fan call my work
Randy
number.
calls it sometimes, right? I mean,
Right, yeah.
yeah.
I half expect that because I don't think the wife realises that I've got and we've got the radio show on today because I completely forgot and, I didn't remind her, so she's going to probably not realise. And, yeah, she'll call and, oh, we've got something to do, quick. Or Sagan will turn up like what happened the other week, didn't he? Didn't he turn up right
at the end of a show?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Yep. So it's all happening. What else is happening? Did you see the train set I scored?
I did see the train set you scored.
And that's awesome.
Yeah, that it looks cool. I can't. It's gonna collect dust, man. Sorry. I was looking at the first thing I said was just like that's really big and never gonna get used.
Well, the only place it could go is the bunker, right? So
yeah,
but like I had to save it. It's awesome. As far as I know, it's like the only Indiana Jones themed train set in the world that I can find. It's like it's one of a kind. I just had to have it.
Yeah, just try and sell it, man. I mean, that's the main thing. Just get it out of there.
No, I don't want to say it's one of a kind.
Yeah. Well, we were talking. I mean, like I mentioned before, when you were running home from your first job with cash in hand, right, to the hobby shop,
right?
Like Sega's never going to be able to do that, right? I mean, like that doesn't exist anymore. I think that's kind of the big thing too. Is that like that just I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, Radio Shack's obviously in the toilet. It's been for a long time. I don't know of anywhere that. I mean, actually, Micro Center in Cleveland and around the Midwest, Micro Center actually kind of took over that role. But it's like a computer store. I think Fry's does that out in California. But other than that, I don't really know where else you can get.
No,
go to the store.
why would you want to as a kid? Everything's online. Everything's available. You can.
I mean, if the instant gratification of the internet isn't instant enough, right? I mean,
right, you can go scratch and sniff on real stuff.
Yeah.
But the world has just changed. It's just as you said. You can order stuff on Amazon and have it the next day, right?
Yeah.
One of those same day ship things. It's not the same here, but it's near enough, right? You can order something on eBay or whatever, and it turns up pretty quick. And yep.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
It's So that is sad, but yeah, I can't imagine.
Sagan's got somewhere to do it. He can hang out in Daddy's lap, right?
He's got all the crap that you got. Yeah, you can't give up.
That's it,
Dad. Why do you have so many old copy machines and fax machines and other stuff from the junk room?
Let me show you, son. Let's take it apart and see how much fun is this. And hopefully he thinks it's fun. He thinks it's all fun now, but when he's like. Yeah. Like
he'll probably like end up rebelling
–
and become a salesperson or something like that, right?
Right. Goodness.
I was thinking the other night. So I don't know if you saw the SpaceX launch got scrapped today.
Oh no, I didn't. I wanted to watch it, but no.
There was so I didn't really know about it either, but I was reading. So Elon Musk did Ask Me Anything last night.
I saw that
on Reddit. Yeah, and that was really good. It's really interesting to just kind of see. I really don't know anything about the space stuff, but I was thinking like I feel like there's like this shrinking sphere of things that I care about in terms of like the electronics world, and like I know that there's interesting electronics on spacecraft like that, like the rockets and the control systems and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I can't bring myself to care about it though. Maybe the our listeners will correct me on that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Like maybe it's
well, maybe because you've never seen it in real life. I'm sure if you went
That's
to
true.
this place where they were developing, oh, look at this, and where, it's got to be cryogenically cooled and blah, 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 and
That's true.
you would think it's awesome, right? You would think it's a work of art.
Actually, I did get to go. I think I'm allowed to say that I went over there. But when I was in San Francisco last time, I got a tour of Planet Labs. Sean Meehan, who had been on the show, he's just on the street from the office where I work at. So he gave me a tour. And actually, yeah, I guess, I mean, like that stuff was really cool. Like a lot of those electronics and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But still, I don't know. Like I feel like a lot of that stuff, maybe it is just a matter of exposure. Like I didn't have exposure to it. I guess even before I started
it's
at
probably
Keithley,
not
I didn't
like
know about it.
Used to be, right? It's not like the Apollo era where back then that was like, they had to invent shit to get these stuff working. Now it's like, well, it uses a 15-year-old radiation-hardened processor, right?
Well, they don't
and
at Planet Labs, though.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it might be yawn-worthy hardware compared to some of the modern stuff, right? Because it has to be conservatively designed. Most of the engineering goes into the ruggedness, the actual survivability, and the hardening of it. So,
I mean, maybe it is all that stuff, but I think personally for me, it's just like space as like a concept is like big and awesome, but I want to like leap forward to like the Star Trek style, right? Like that's what's in my head. And then it's like, no, well, we have to solve like these really difficult economic and realistic problems, like
all that boring shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, oh man, like it's a lot of it is in the details. Obviously, they're doing things really fast at SpaceX and a lot of these other like these privatized space companies, but
ultimately it's the same old thing, right? It's launching
big rocket
rockets,
go up. Yeah.
Payload goes to the space station, whoop-de-doo,
right. But still really important, right? It's like, when there's this ray gun involved, I don't know.
Right. And there's occasionally cool stuff like those rockets that that actually re-enter and land under power, right?
Right. Well, that's what this one was too.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, and it's great. But it's just like, I don't know.
Right.
Maybe it's just like we need you to do a teardown or something of the control systems in that, right? Because I think that's what it is. It's like you assume that it's like, well, there's probably control electronics in there for a lot of the thrusters and all that crazy stuff, but until you know about the actual specs of what needs to happen, like, well, how fast does that system need to react? Is it like millisecond response time kind of stuff, or until you know that, it's hard to. Yeah, it's hard to understand, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I can see where you're coming from. I've got a bit more enthusiasm than you, but yep.
Yeah, probably. It might be true to a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, that's why the whole space thing is boring to the general public, right? Nobody cares anymore. They're not doing anything interesting, right? It's just...
They're doing things foundational, right? Right.
Yeah, which is boring. Foundation stuff is boring.
Right. Yeah, it's not the first time they're landing on something, but it's it's the stuff that's necessary
they're doing
to land
cool
something
stuff,
on the first
right?
time.
The Curiosity rover, but it wasn't the first time. I think, but that hit media pay dirt, right? Because just the hype surrounding it was cool, just the way they did it was awesome. And then of course you had the probe landing on the asteroid was cool because that was the first time that had been done, and that was making the front page of the newspaper here, even in Australia. So, holy crap.
Newspaper?
Yeah, newspaper, one of those dead tree things that they still print, and even the shock tabloid ones. It still made the front page. I actually tweeted a photo. It's like, shit, they had science on the front page. Holy crap!
Lands on meteor and finds alien life related to Kardashians.
And I was going to say, here's Kim Kardashian's ass. I think both of them were on the front page. Or something, Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I think the same things. Like, so obviously it's still the Elon Musk, but like with the the Tesla and stuff like that, right? Like you look at you think about the electronics in a car. It's like, oh well, you think about the entertainment system and stuff like that, and that's okay. But then until you actually break it down and start looking at all the different control systems necessary.
The hundreds of processors in there. Exactly. The Tesla has like 200 processors in it.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's until you actually go and look at that and see the necessity for innovation there. It's like that. Until you see at the lower level and then the system level, it's like,
I was going to say the thing that would impress would be the system level block diagram, right? Showing like you would have to have like it'd be the size of a wall, print out chart, right? And you'd have like 200 systems interconnected, blah blah blah. It might all be on one or two buses, right? But there's like there's a couple hundred things hanging off this bus,
Yeah, it's Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just me becoming cynical too. I don't know. Like I like so many things these days. I'm just like, oh, okay, that's doing that. Yeah, So like, there's like the this hardware battlefield. Have you seen the? You know what that is?
No. What's hardware battlefield?
So TechCrunch is a big publication, and they're out at CES. And there's a link on our on the subreddit. But basically, it's like they kind of like have voting, and then they have finals, and they do these contests, and so many of these things. I don't know. Honestly, this is like for so it is hardware, right? So like the hardware startups basically, and then basically they win some. Okay. They win some check at the end. I think like $50,000 or something, maybe 10 grand.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay,
but it's just like TechCrunch does. Like if you watch the startup show or what is it called, Silicon Valley? At the end there's the big check they hand out, and they like have judging panels and stuff like. The actual thing isn't what I'm talking about here, though. Although that has its own silliness. But like going down the list of like the ones that are in this, right? And just like or looking at the list of things at CES, and I'm just like, I don't know. Like maybe this is just me being cynical, or maybe this is just me seeing the same things over and over again because it's CES. But like going down this list, I'm just like,
Well, you know what I'm getting sick of hearing? The term hardware startup.
Oh, yeah,
Startup. Everything's a freaking startup.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm getting sick of it.
Well, there's a lot of money in it right now, so that's the thing, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of money floating around, but I don't know. Just stop calling yourself a startup. Just build a business, sell a product, bootstrap. Do it the old school way.
Yes. No, I like that, but that's not where no one's excited about that, right?
Yeah,
it's like,
well, is anyone so excited about startups anymore? Not me.
Oh, well, I think sometimes there could be, but I think what it comes down to is like, what is it? Like, actually the only thing that I've been...
it always does, yeah.
The stuff I've been interested in were things that I wouldn't have thought I would be interested in, like the boosted board. You know what that is?
No, what's a boosted board?
It's like a skateboard or longboard that has like 2 electric motors in the back and like battery packs. Yeah. And basically it can
these
go
are not
like,
new.
No, it was a Kickstarter a while ago. I guess that's the thing. Like, it was a Kickstarter.
I know that one. It was a couple year or two back now.
Oh no, like three or four. I think.
3. Yeah, long time ago. Yeah,
long time ago. But yeah, like stuff like that where it's like, oh, okay, so now you have like my buddy who's like this, button down doctor in New York City riding a skateboard to work. Like that's interesting to me.
Right.
And it's like, and it's cool electronics. It's it's got interesting motor drives on it and stuff like that. I don't know though. I just so many of these things. I'm just like, sensor data going to a mobile phone.
Yeah, I know. Work and there's an app. Woohoo!
I know, and it's like, I know it's not easy. It's not easy, right? Like, none of this stuff is easy, but like,
of course.
Smartwatches.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. I don't know what I'm expecting, but when I see it, the guy sitting here not making anything, when he sees it, he'll know it.
I'm going through the list of companies in this hardware battlefield thing, and it's just the names are enough to put you to sleep, right?
Yeah.
Turn you off. It's just, yeah. No thanks. I don't think I could watch one of those startup shows.
Like the shows, or like you mean like the contest?
Yeah, like
things?
the startup. I used to enjoy Dragon's Den back in the day when they had it. I think it
lasted
one season here in Australia. Oh, you don't?
Is that
Dragon's
like
Den is
Shark Tank, but is it the Aussie
it's
version?
the same thing as Shark Tank, but it's the UK version. I think the
Okay.
Dragon's
It's probably
Den
what it
was the
came
UK
from.
version. And
Yeah.
exactly.
We steal
And,
TV all the time here.
Yeah, and they're starting up another one of those here, and it was like, you know, I mean, but the game has changed now, haven't we? Did we discuss this or?
I don't know.
Before
I don't
it's
know what you're
like,
talking
well,
about.
why go on these shows? Why not just do the Kickstarter? I know it's the advertise, you know, I know it's the,
Oh yeah,
you know,
right.
you go on there for the publicity, right? But ultimately, you know, you're just giving away your company and, you know, for pittance, really.
Oh yeah, right.
You know, because, you know, they go in there, I'll give you, you know, the dragon will say, or the shark or whatever, I'll
Dragon.
give you 50 grand for 50% of your company, and their eyes light up. It's like, you dickhead. You know, you're getting shafted, dude. Just
Maybe.
you know,
I don't know. Some of these things,
know.
it's like, I have
Well,
a new
to some people,
blender
that's
that
a
will
lot,
make
but-
a. I mean, like that's what I mean. Like all of the things that seem to go on these things, like it's not necessarily
Right.
new technology or anything like that. You know, like that's the thing. Like foundational technology, right? Like
Yeah.
that doesn't happen at startups, right? Startups are development;
Right.
they're not research, and even at big companies with like tons of money, you know, it's still probably not necessarily research, right? Research is
Yep.
hard. It's really hard, and it fails a lot, and you need a crap load of money
Basic
to do
research.
it.
Yep.
You know, and it's just like,
Yep.
and it needs to happen, and it just doesn't. I mean, like, and maybe that's the problem is that like I expect, you know, like I'm sitting here in 2015 looking back, you know, it's like, oh well, the transistor was made. It's like, yeah, of course it was made, but it was made over, you know, 20 years, and you know,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
tons of
Basics
tons of
physics research.
physics that went into that.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, you know, you can't quite compare it, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I when I do compare, it's like, ugh.
You want to know
apps.
what pisses me off?
What's that?
Bloody.
How many listeners have we lost so far? I wonder.
I know.
It doesn't matter because they're not listening anymore. But
Exactly.
yeah,
What pisses me off is that it's got to be the majority of these startups, right? Are just they're just ideas people, right? They just get the idea and they think all it needs is the application of money. I get my startup money and that's it. You know, it'll just happen, right? Regardless of whether or not it's actually a good, viable idea. It's like that U-beam thing we talked about, right?
No,
it's just
don't go there.
bullshit.
just
Right?
don't go there.
Well, there's another one that just came out.
The
reason I mentioned that
I
is
don't
that-
want. Yeah, I just don't. Yeah.
It's just a fundamentally stupid idea. Just, but they'll get money for it. And it just,
Yeah.
it pisses me off, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah. And and that's the thing I hate about startups now is that every time I see something, it's like, oh, God, that's just another variation on some stupid idea that's just not going to work, you know? And,
Yeah.
shoot me now
Yeah.
before I have to look at another bloody Internet of Things hardware startup
Yeah.
or a smartwatch.
And so, like the comparison here is that so Amazon has some lab, what's it called, Lab 126, right? So they're the ones who actually
They're
are
the ones who developed the Amazon Kindle.
the Kindle, right? And then the Fire Phone, and then
Yep,
basically
that's right.
when that flopped, that started to change what is called an R&D group. But basically, it's like, you know, you call it an R&D group, but like really that means it's a D group, right? I mean, like obviously
Yeah,
the
right.
Kindle was different and cool and stuff like that. It's still consumer level, right? I think consumer has its own, tangled mess of wires that you have to deal with.
But the Kindle was an excellent, brilliant example of a product that didn't do more than it claimed, right? It was specifically for the task, and that's why the Kindle still rules today, because of that killer battery life. You know, you get a couple of months battery life out of this thing. Right, it's just freaking awesome,
Yeah,
and all it
and
does
the
is
whisper
read
net
books,
on the back
you know?
end, and exactly.
It's just it was executed nicely and did one task and did it very well, you know.
Yeah.
But everyone wants, you know, the smartwatch. Oh, I want it to do everything, and it's going to interact. It's got a Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and it gets 6 hours battery life. Ah, you idiots! Right?
Yeah, well, you know, I'm not a watch person myself, anyways. So, but yeah, I mean, but my main point was that, you know, these aren't research. I mean, these aren't research. They might be doing some fundamental research, but it's like, you know, R&D is a term that's thrown around. Like I was once called an R&D engineer that was not true, right? I was not really doing research.
Right. No, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it's just like...
You were doing the D part of it.
Exactly,
R&D is research and development. So you were doing
my old boss used to say little r, big D, right? So more development than research. There's always going to be something you have to investigate, but it's like it's not research, right? I mean, it's like you know, it's investigation, it's stuff like that.
I've done some. Well, academics out there might not call it research, but to me it was research. You know, I was researching, you know, the fundamental physical properties of long-term drift inside oscillators, right? That was like, you know, you would look out there and there's no research on it. Like, you know, I had to build my own jigs to actually test this thing. I had to write my own software algorithms to, you know, analyze the data and stuff like that, and draw in graphs which nobody's probably ever done before, right? And to me, that was sort of, you know, pretty basic kind of research.
No, I totally agree with that. I think that kind of stuff is, right? It's not like fundamental physics. You're not going out and then trying to find new materials to put into an oscillator, but you're characterizing.
No, that's
right.
Like but I was characterizing and using existing oscillators in different ways and characterizing their performance in ways that hadn't been done before.
Right,
and
to enhance, that was, basically to enhance performance. Yeah, I think that's very realistic. I think that then if I took your research, right, and I think that's the big difference is like if I took your research and then just went and said, well, Dave found this is the best one, it goes into my product and I'm going to go sell it right away. That's development, right? There's still problems with that because
of course.
Because the problems of development are what we talked about at the beginning of the show, which is can't get parts, have to deal with vendors, you know, like the integration side of things is the tough stuff. It's not the tough stuff, but that's the tough stuff of the development piece is the logistics and everything else.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, no, I agree, though. I think that's research. And
okay, cool.
Yeah, so you have been a researcher. I don't think I have.
I have done some basic research, yes. I haven't done academic research. That's, you know, a different kettle of fish.
That's definitely a different kettle of fish. And I think that's ultimately the longest term. That's probably what's most at risk in a society, not society, but like in the time that we're living in with like all of this money chasing fast successes, right?
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to be funding. It's like, well, when can you get me this new breakthrough product? And it's like, well,
that's right.
10 years, maybe, if it works out. You know, like graphene. Hey, remember graphene? And every time they write about it, they're like, it's coming.
Exactly.
Someday it's going to be awesome. There was actually an article I posted. It was a while ago. I think maybe a couple shows back. I posted an article about graphene. Oh yeah. It was from the New Yorker, actually. The New Yorker, right? This is like this, you know, literary magazine, stuff like that. But they wrote about it, and the great thing about this article is they talk about how aluminum or aluminium, as some say, it was the same cycle. Obviously, you know, we're a little bit more advanced than when aluminum came out. But basically, they called it like ground silver or clay silver or something like that. Okay. But basically, they found it, they refined it, and they were like, well, now what, right? And it was like, I think that was like the early mid 1800s, and then they didn't start using it until World War II. It's like, holy moly,
interesting.
And now it's everywhere, right? I mean, like that's
right.
That's,
yeah, of course, yeah.
You know, like obviously there's a much. It was 1850s, yeah, and so that's when they found it. They didn't start using it until 1900. So 50 years it took. I mean, obviously we're much more compressed design cycle, but like you think about how critical aluminum is now. It's like, okay, well, it makes me feel a little better about graphene, at the very least. Yeah. So yeah, it's I don't know. It's tough thinking about the research side of things. There was another article I posted about the where'd it go? It was about Bell Labs again. Basically, it was a Quora answer. Why they were able to do so much beforehand. Obviously, Quora is a user site, so it's it's usually not. It's going to be like an official answer or anything like that. But basically, we were talking about the margin stuff before as well, and we talked to Shahryar about this as well. But like you think about the margin that was available, just like the distributors that we talked about earlier in the show. Like when you have that margin, you can, when you're in monopoly like Ma Bell was, you can put that towards research. It's probably still self-serving, but they were doing research, right? And you think about margins today, like Amazon, we were just talking about in their Lab 126, Amazon has no margin, right? They have big money and big investment, but it's just like there's you're not going to be hiring. You can't hire throngs of scientists, even if you could find them. It's just like, so I don't know. I don't think we're screwed.
No. I want to get, once I get more time, hopefully, I want to get, I want to get back into doing that. I want to get back into doing some, not really, fundamental physics level research. I'm not really capable of that, but, like research on just interesting, obscure type things, and, it's fun. It's fun just getting data, doing, setting up experiments, doing tests, and see what data pops out the other end, and it's fun stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Speaking of fun, I love this. Somebody tweeted this, and it got put into the Reddit feed. A student here in Australia. I love this prank. Check it out. It's his teacher told him, right, you have to build a counter, like an up counter, an up-down counter thing, and you can't use a microcontroller, right? And, you got to use it, you do it using discrete, 7.4 series TTL stuff or whatever, right? So I went, that's cool. But then, as a prank, what he did is he actually ground out a 7.4 series chip. So I actually ground out the die in there, like on the underside of it, snuck a microcontroller in there, right, and potted it back up and programmed it. So, it did his basic, count up, count down thing, right? But then occasionally it would come up and just display something stupid on the display, this is funny, ass, and it's just, I love it.
Yeah,
so
it was really good.
Yep. Check it out. It'll be in the links down below.
At first, when I was watching, I was like, how did? I was like thinking, okay, maybe if he had like a state machine or something, or, like some other kind of auxiliary logic or something. Then I obviously scroll down the page and and his soldering was impressive.
I gave a spoiler, didn't I?
No,
I gave
maybe.
A spoiler, didn't it? Well,
it doesn't ruin it. It's fine.
No, it doesn't ruin it. It's still cool.
Yeah.
It's still cool. So, and apparently the teacher never caught on or something. So, it was like wasted. But no, it's never wasted when you document it and put it up like this, because people like us can enjoy it and go, yep, that's cool.
Yeah.
Right. That's awesome.
You win the internet for today.
Yes, you win the internet.
Yeah.
Or the engineering part of the internet. Yep. And he's got, nice photos of, how he did it, like step by step, and how he destroyed several chips doing it, and, like dremeled out these chips. And it's just great. Check it out.
Yeah.
So that's definitely link of the day. Link of the day.
I was actually pretty impressed. I don't know if you saw the announcement that so apparently iRobot, the guys who do Rumba, obviously we've had Scott on the show, who he's now at Dragon Innovation, Scott Miller. And then he was at iRobot before that. But I didn't realize they had actually started a hackable robot. Did you know that they had an actual platform?
No. But there's lots of hackable robot platforms, aren't there?
There are. So the thing... No, and I agree, but this is actually... The thing that was surprising to me was not... I think that the main thing to look at this is the cost. The cost of it is crazy. And basically, I think it's $200.
Low cost. Oh,
low
right.
cost. Yeah. So you get like the chassis and the motors. I think I'm right about this. I could be wrong, but chassis, motors, and I think the charger and the battery for like $200.
Okay,
and
cool.
If that's the case, that's pretty awesome.
Well, it depends. But there's lots of low cost, hardware platforms out there.
Yeah, but not for a full chassis and stuff like that, like an actual injection molded. Like the injection molding stuff is tough.
Oh, yeah, no, of course. Yeah, usually like they're made on a PCB or something, they'll attach some motors to a PCB or something like that. There's heaps of kits out there like that. Yeah, okay. We'll check it out.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see, you've already ran through your tasks of things today.
No, I haven't. No, my task is to actually invite people in for interviews, so that's going to happen today.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Hopefully.
Moving forward with that?
Yeah. Yes, that'll be fun.
Is the microcontroller guy on the list or no?
Well, he didn't apply. That I'm aware of.
Darn.
I don't think it's him.
Yeah.
No,
I think that's why. That's how we found out about it.
Yeah, that's how we found out. Somebody said, "Yeah, I should hire this guy." And yeah, totally. Right. That's the kind of thing. Like, if you show me that webpage, I'm going to go, "Yeah, okay." Of
course,
that's cool.
Exactly. That's a good example.
Definitely get an interview, right? So,
right.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I'm impressed by the standard. The standard of people who applied is excellent, So sorry if you're listening and you didn't make it. I'll also be sending out emails today if you didn't make it. Hopefully, that's the plan for today.
Any surveying of like the CAD packages that usual people were listing, if at all?
Because they're students, and the ones I'm considering are based in Australia here. It's almost always Altium. Right,
okay,
if they're a student, right, because Altium just practically owns the student
they
thing
have
here.
licenses at schools. Okay,
yeah, they always have, like, for the last 30 years, right. That's been Altium's thing.
That's smart.
That's
smart.
They always got into the schools, right. So pretty much everyone knows Altium. See, but that's the problem, right? I hire someone, I can't afford another Altium license, right?
Right.
So we've got to either switch. Did we mention this the other week? I've got to either switch packages or, choose something new or something more affordable. Maybe the new, if Altium ever get off their ass and actually release this new low-cost one, if they release like $1,000 package, okay, well, we can buy a seat or two of the, of the low-cost package. Or I could just switch to...
I have a...
go on.
I have a new bad hobby of watching the CAD developers list, and it's like...
Right.
Today they were asking for icons for the push and shove. They're doing differential, like they've never had differential matching.
Oh, right, okay.
And like calculation as you're dragging around, which you need for obviously you need, but but maybe people don't know you need for high speed lines and memories and stuff like that. So yeah, but it's tough because like you look at it, you're like, oh, it's coming. It's like, no, well, in a while maybe,
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of tough.
But we might switch to, because we might be in the same boat, If we both have to switch, then, hey, let's go to KiCad, or something. So
someone who could teach you, yeah.
Right, well, yeah. No, it's just a matter of time. Apply time,
I think so. Right.
Yeah, to actually just lay out some boards and you'll learn pretty quick,
Yeah, I mean, that is the big thing.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think it's, it's pretty much either Altium or KiCad, right? That's going to be pretty much the only choice. I'm not going to go choose Eagle. That's just brain dead, right? Like, and
Dip
I'm
Trace
not going to go.
You can use Dip Trace, maybe.
We could use Dip Trace, but it's another commercial one, right? If I'm going to pay for a commercial one, well, I may as well get the one I'm familiar with, and I like Altium. Right?
Yeah, true.
So, assuming that they actually release the thing and it's good, right?
Yeah, right.
So, at the moment, I'd be silly to commit to something like Dip Trace. Like, I had a really good applicant who I'm getting in. He's got, he lays out all his boards using that, right? So,
oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, anyway, we'll see. But it's kind of tough, and it's going to be interesting, whether or not, like I've, interviewed tons of people before. I'm so used to doing it through my work, right, and companies I've worked at, but I'm hiring for the company, which is kind of different to, I think it might, it's different to hiring.
Chairman, founder, and CEO, and now
exactly.
hiring manager.
Hiring for yourself, because I still don't know if this is going to work, right? This whole idea, right? I might find, oh, no, they just annoy the hell out of me, or, I can't stand having someone in the lab, right? Or,
that'll be a shift.
Yeah. Well, it might turn into, well, they don't do work here, right? They,
send them to the dungeon,
the bunker, right?
Oh, there you go, bunker.
Or they, anyway. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But I've got an interview. But it's such a time sink. Like, I don't want to give everyone just 10 minutes. I don't want to get them in here and do 50 people in a day, right? It's just
you can do group interviews. You ever done those before?
No, I've never done group interviews.
Oh, I've done those before.
Really?
I've been interviewed like that before.
Really? When there's multiple people?
Yeah,
in the same room.
I interviewed at GE when I was leaving
What's a
school.
Oh, at GE, right?
Yeah, at GE.
Yeah.
And they probably brought in like 10 people at once, and basically they were like they're like, here's an activity, go figure this stuff out. And they had like they split us up into teams, and we had,
wow, really?
Yeah. You have to think about GE. Think about how many people they hire.
I know. Yeah, I know.
They're an engineer factory, right?
Yeah,
I mean, and a lot of times in the best way, right? I mean, they have a brilliant it's called Edison engineering program, stuff like that. Yeah. I have friends that go through that or went through that, and yeah. So I mean, it's just like the logistics of hiring that many people is like.
Got it. Yeah, no, they can't afford the time to interview everyone one by one. It's like I can barely afford the time to interview the people I'm going to interview, right?
And this was an argument. So I brought up the whole like project based engineering stuff when I was on Engineering Commons. I mentioned that last week. But Jeff, the host over there now, he's like, but how do you do that when you have to hire lots of people, right? That's kind of the downside. You can't go and. Yep. I mean, I think that ultimately it's worth it if you want a really good engineer. You should go out and find their projects and stuff like that and go look at what's online. But think about it logistically, like, that's tough. That if you have to hire...
When you've got 100, 200 resumes, which is not uncommon.
Oh, not even 100 or 200. Think about when you have to hire 1,000 engineers, right?
Oh,
like,
right, yeah.
How do you do that, right? I mean, like, that's really tough.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because they do that every year, right? They've got budget to hire a new group of people coming out of the unis, right?
Yeah. You're stressing about one. You're stressing about one.
I know. I can't say I've ever been involved in that. Usually it's the other way around. Usually there's like, 4 people interviewing one poor bastard who's coming in.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
And they still do that. They still do that, for the ones that get through. But...
Yeah,
right. It's tough.
So that's just a way to weed out people, like see who. So what do they do? Would they like then go, okay, the team that performed the best, you're all in, right?
No. It was just part of a. No, it was part of a bigger thing.
Or do you see who naturally rises as the leader of the group and just hire the leader of every group?
I think what they were really doing, from a people perspective, is they were looking at who's going to be the a-hole, right? So can you actually, like, you think about it, right? I mean, like, this is something that a lot of, like, you go on any forum or talk to an engineer, what's the thing that they don't teach you in university, right? They could be the best technical. Exactly. They can be the best technical program ever. They still won't teach you how to communicate as well as you need to, right? Because it's just such a big component, and how to work well and how to manage stuff. It's just like, I don't think I'd even want to take those courses. Like, that would be terrible.
Well,
right?
and sometimes you can't teach that. It's like, it's personality. It's like your,
it's not even personality.
What family you were built. There's
maybe.
By the time you get to that age, you're, like you're pushing 18, 20 years old, right? You've had a lot of ingrained stuff through all of your development, right?
I don't agree with that. I think that anyone could be taught. I mean, but it's just some are going to be more privileged than others. But it's not
easy. No, some people are just naturally kinder, or they naturally play well with others better, right?
Shut up, Dave.
I'm the kind of guy who's going to go, no, that's wrong. Here's why. There's some people have a lot more tact, right? Whereas I have zero tact, right? Because that's, and
I get it. You're right. I mean,
totally different. You can get total opposites, and it's hard to teach.
It is hard to teach, but it is possible to teach. I think it is. It's at least possible to point out to people.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave. Hey,
you have to be more tactful.
Don't do that. Exactly. You might not. You might not listen, but maybe you could at least get through that part of the interview.
Well. You're not so much teaching it, right? You're not changing that person's behavior. You're just making them realize it's important to, say, suppress something like that, or to, you're not actually changing the person. You're just telling them how to survive, how to best, keep your job, pretty much. How to best survive in that environment. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's like I've done that, right? I've worked in companies where I know, okay, you don't want me to open my mouth. Fine, I'll keep my mouth shut.
Yep.
Okay, fine. All right. You haven't changed
as long as
me.
You can,
just,
right?
Yeah, that's right. And so, it's anyway. So that's really fascinating.
It
so
was.
what
it
do you
was,
watch? Do you have one person watching the dynamics of each group? You know, just sit in there with with their pen and their clipboard.
Oh, they were just kind of watching
analysing
everyone. It was like
Right.
being in a focus group, basically. It was weird.
Right.
So
Okay.
didn't get the job. I don't know. So
Right.
maybe I don't play well with others.
Like I've been in those team building things. You know, companies will send you on like team building courses, right? And you have to, operate as a team, and all that sort of jazz.
Ropes
and,
courses.
yeah, and and you've got to, you're all on a deserted island, and you've got to learn how to work together and solve these problems, and blah blah, all that sort of wanky stuff. And, and you see who naturally, rises, who's naturally the ideas person who comes up with, the organizer, who's the natural leader, who's the person who just sits there and, goes, yes, okay, yeah, I agree, yep, and just, sits in the corner timid.
Well, and I think there's legit stuff for everything there. Like, it's like if you have, you don't want someone who, is in a low-level position being like, no, I'm the boss. I am the CEO.
Right. Yeah, of course, because they'll never...
There's humility as well, right?
They will never do the work, right?
Right, exactly.
Sometimes you've got to have those yes people, right? Because they're the ones who...
Yeah. And people change. I mean, I think that people can change. I think they normally don't, but I think that they can, and they can learn and stuff like that. So
that's what I'm saying. People normally don't change. That's what I'm saying. Yes, they can. They can learn to adapt, but... it doesn't, like you can't ultimately turn a real grumpy bastard of a person into the world's most friendly human, right? It's just not going to happen.
Dave, I would like to introduce you to beer.
Right.
So yes, you can.
No, I bet you can have good drunks and bad
Grumpy
drunks,
Chris.
right? You can have good... But can't you have good drunks and bad drunks?
Yes, of course, and that's a terrible
Right?
example. If there's anyone out there, this is, that was not a good example. But I think that I don't know. I think you can teach people to fake it a lot of times. When it comes down to it, I think you can and fake it. Fake it till you make it too, right? I think that people will.
Oh yeah, right.
Modify their behavior to match eventually, anyways. So
and ultimately, those big companies. Ultimately, what they will do, because they have to hire so many people, ultimately what they'll do is just hire it based on your psych exam or based on the results from this, simple team building, team thing, right? They'll go, okay, you're the type of person we want. We don't care about the details. Whether or not you're a good designer or a bad designer, whether you're enthusiastic or not, you're just that type of person. And I've been to job interviews, where I've had the psych exam. And they would come back after, I would have a psych, like a 2-hour psych exam, where you've got to fill in the, and then they go away and they go away for half an hour, analyse it. They come back and say, we'd like to offer you this management job. And I'm going, but I don't want a management job. But you're perfectly suited for it. It's like, right. It's just crazy. They just didn't care about the details. They would offer me this job that I didn't want. And that I didn't apply for, and that because I, hit some buttons on their psych exam. Right?
That is nuts.
I know.
That's a reason to run the other way, right?
But this was a big company, right? Yeah. This was like a huge multinational, company, and that's what they did. That's how they hired people.
I wonder about how this is going to change over time too, because I think that. The university experience, there is some social stuff involved there. I think especially for lab classes and stuff like that. But looking at reading social cues and everything else about the human, I think that because of cost constraints, right? We've been talking about cost constraints a lot and how that ends up affecting research. I think that ends up affecting education as well. And I think that the trend is going to be towards more and more automation, right? Online courses, right? Obviously, online courses, Chris says. Founder of Contextual Electronics says online courses, but even Coursera and MITx and stuff like that, but just how that's going to affect stuff.
I will send you an interesting video from Veritasium, fellow Aussie video blogger.
Yeah.
Have you seen this one? It's how people learn and stuff like that.
Maybe.
I will link in. Anyway, somebody tweeted it.
I saw it, but I forgot it.
Right. Will this will revolutionize education. Here we go. Here's the video. So I'll link it in. And of course, this doesn't work on radio, but I will send that to you. And it's interesting. If I remember, the result from this was that online courses didn't do any better. And it was anyway. It's like a lot of things that you would and things like the difference between having video animation and still photos, right? You would think that the animation would explain better. Not necessarily so.
Yeah.
Right? So, there's interesting research which has gone on to how people learn and stuff like that. And, the thing that came out of it, no, we will still be learning the same way. A teacher imparting their, not just information, but imparting their enthusiasm for
interesting.
Teach it, right? That's, anyway, it's worth a watch. So,
yeah. There is a Georgia Tech. So I saw one of the reasons I bring this up. There is a Georgia Tech course that's out there. It's starting up in March, and it's like it's like an electronics course online. That's good. I mean, it's free. I'm pretty sure. But it's just like I wonder just about how it's going to end up all affecting that kind of stuff. But especially from ultimately people go to school to get jobs, right? That's kind of the thing, and and I just wonder how that all changes. I mean, maybe sitting in a lecture hall doesn't really matter that much anyways for, being in a group interview later on. But I just wonder how this stuff's all going to end up changing. Maybe job interviews will change as well. Maybe the big companies will start looking at, do you have Coursera credits and stuff like that on your on your resume?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
I hope not, because, then they'll go, how many Coursera credits do you have and how many people are you linked into, on bloody LinkedIn, right? And that's right. I'm sure that happens at the moment, right? There's HR departments that cull based on your LinkedIn profile.
Oh, I know. They do that for GitHub. They do a lot of the...
Oh, really? Yeah. If you don't have a GitHub,
how many GitHub repos you have and how much... Because if you go to GitHub for like someone's profile, if you go to my profile right now, you'll see like how many times I do commits per week. It's pretty insane. And like you could be committing garbage. I mean, like you could literally be doing 1,000 commits a day of like commit, oops, mess that up, oops, mess that up, and that would be 3 commits. I have no idea what
I'm doing. I'm a shit programmer, but I'm committing. Right? I'm committing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing hopefully they're a little bit more sophisticated than that, but it's hard, right? I mean, you're going through this too. Obviously, you have good candidates going for one job, and you think about good candidates being mixed in with mediocre, being mixed in with bad candidates for like big jobs for big companies and stuff like that. And it's just like how do you start to delineate between one or the other? And I think that eventually they're going to say, well, Coursera credits, well, this and that and this and that. Right. And I think it's just I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see. The future's coming.
Grown.
Yeah.
The future's coming. It's not looking bright, folks.
Well, I think that the future is projects, right? Obviously, I have a horse in the race here, but I think it is a lot of what your applicant's doing too, right? It's just, are you making stuff?
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's what matters. And yeah.
And that's exactly what I found here. It's like, okay, I've got resumes from, 30 different, students. How do you stand out? Well, I don't necessarily give a toss about your grades. It's what have you done?
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
You haven't done any projects at all on the side. You've got no interest outside. Well, okay, sorry, you go to the bottom of the list because there's so many other.
Yep.
You might be a fine student, you might be a fine candidate, right? But I'm sorry, you're not going to make the interview because there's 10 other people who have all these interesting projects they've showed me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't interview everyone. So you've got to make that first cut. So
man. Well, you got a hard day ahead of you, I think.
I do. So I better get started.
You should. Cool. Well, have a good holiday next week. I will be talking to others, not you.
Right.
So enjoy the fun and sun while I sit here and
thank you.
Minus, I guess what it would be in C. It'd be minus 8 degrees C weather. Something.
Right, yeah, okay, I'll tweet photos. Well, I tweeted photos the other day from the beach.
I saw those, yeah.
Yeah.
Jealous. Maybe next winter I'll come visit. Maybe.
Awesome.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
All right. See ya.